week is this? 7? Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Burnt Coverage. Week 7. Wow, 7 weeks already. It only feels like 6. I'm your host, Joel.
And I'm Curtis.
And this segment we're going to cover quarterbacks. So, Curtis, who do you like? What do you think? Who from Jacksonville do you like this week?
Come on! Really? You think that's all I ever pick?
Spoiler alert!
No, I can mix it up on occasion. Now this week for quarterback, I like Blake Bortles, Jacksonville Jaguars, coming in at 5,400 in DraftKings and 7,500 in FanDuel. He's playing in London this week, so there's no real home advantage versus the Bills. It doesn't matter because the Bills are 24th in pass yards allowed anyway. Interesting to note, Blake Bortles, you don't think of him amongst the elite quarterbacks, at least unless you're me. But he's 6th in passing yards this year. 6th and 5th in touchdowns.
Garbage time counts.
Yeah, and especially in fantasy, it might not in real life. I mean, the Jaguars aren't going anywhere, but certainly going to be putting up some points, especially against the Bills team who has a lot of guys questionable. I know Shady's back on offense, but we are still dealing with the Tyrod Taylor thing. Who knew that Tyrod Taylor would be something that we'd be missing at this point? But yeah, EJ Manuel was decent, but not great last week. So it could be a game where the Jaguars are competitive the whole time. They're still dealing with TJ Yeldon's injury. He hasn't practiced this week. They do have Denard Robinson, who is a threat, granted, but didn't prove it last week. So I really like Bortles to shine, especially against a Buffalo defense that's supposed to be so heralded this year. Yeah. But they only have 9 sacks so far, which is 28 in the league. So not a lot of pressure to Bortles either.
Yeah, no, not at all. What's the price?
54 DraftKings, 75 FanDuel.
54. So for our friends over the pond, that is 2,700 pounds.
Wow, there you go.
There you go.
Dirt cheap.
Dirt cheap.
And over the pond might be the only place you'll be able to play DraftKings or FanDuel very soon.
Oh, hi Vegas.
Oh,
no bother. So let's see. All right, we're gonna go dirt cheap. I love my value plays. I'm gonna go dirt cheap with quarterback this week. I'm gonna go the Pittsburgh quarterback of notes. I'm gonna go Landry Jones. Landry Jones of Oklahoma fame. So last week, filling in for an injured Mike Vick, mid-game he went 8 for 12 for 168 and 2 touchdowns over the heralded Arizona defense. This week, he's going to Arrowhead, but KC is giving up 277 yards and 2.5 touchdowns average per game through the air, and the 5th most points to opposing quarterbacks in fantasy. So, Landry Jones, what do you know about Landry Jones? Probably not much. He went to Oklahoma. He was a backup to Sam Bradford.
He
was a backup to Sam Bradford. And in Landry Jones' first start in Oklahoma, he won 64-0, going 18 for 32 for 286 yards and 3 touchdowns. His second start, because Bradford was still hurt, he won 45-0 over Tulsa, and set an Oklahoma Sooners record throwing 6 touchdowns. An Oklahoma Sooner record. Oklahoma makes some good quarterbacks.
So let me get this straight. You're
touchdowns.
arguing Landry Jones because he once beat Tulsa in 2009?
I'm just saying, he knows how to throw the ball. And he's going against a terrible. They're the only thing that scares me about this game is they're in Arrowhead. Arrowhead, even with a terrible Kansas City defense, Arrowhead is still Arrowhead. The crowd and the atmosphere does have an effect on opposing teams, especially opposing quarterbacks. But the real selling point for Landry Jones is that in his limited time last week, he, unlike Michael Vick, was able to get the ball to Antonio Brown. I know that Michael Vick made Martavis Bryant back on the radar. Martavis Bryant picked up right where he left off last year after his suspension was lifted. But Michael Vick was unable to get Antonio Brown the ball for whatever reason. But Landry Jones was able to do that. And we all know that if you get Antonio Brown the ball, he will make plays. And that's the only reason that I think that this is a great great value play because if you get Brown the ball, he's going to score a touchdown. He's going for dirt cheap price of $6,000 on FanDuel, $5,100 on DraftKings. I'm telling you, the reason I'm doing this is you'll see later. I'm just going to go high end for other positions, but this is dirt cheap on the quarterback, Landry Jones in Arrowhead, 3 touchdowns, 250 yards.
Yeah, I do like the Pittsburgh quarterback in this game, and that's Ben Roethlisberger. He's back, baby. And Ben's coming in at 6,800 in DraftKings, 8,400 in FanDuel, so you got to pay a lot for him, which I don't recommend.
And he's not even going to play.
68 in DraftKings, but if he does play against the 26th ranked pass defense,
no. If Roethlisberger plays, you don't want to play him in his first week. This is not a good injury, and I understand Roethlisberger is a gamer. He wants to get back, but Pittsburgh still has a realistic shot at postseason play at this point. No, I don't think you rush it. Give him the other week.
So you would recommend Landry Jones as a play against the Chiefs, but not Ben Roethlisberger.
No, not because Roethlisberger.
I just want to get the facts straight.
That is a fact. Roethlisberger is obviously a much better quarterback, and I would never choose Landry Jones over Roethlisberger as my starting quarterback. But in this scenario, in this 1 week play, because that's what we're dealing with, daily fantasy, I think Landry Jones is going to be the starter. But if Big Ben does make some miraculous turn and play this week, no, I'm staying away.
I got a feeling that Ben does play, though, it's going to be all shotgun, baby. And
Of
he's just going to be
course,
back there just heaving the ball.
But it'll be quick release, so there'll be a lot of Heath Miller and a lot of Antonio Brown. Hopefully, Antonio Brown.
And a lot of Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, but there won't be the deep play, Big Ben, scramble and make something out of nothing, Big Ben that we all have come to know and love.
I got to squeeze in a ticket if Ben plays. I have to.
No, not at all. Then you'll lose.
All right. I'm going to move on to another quarterback that's near and dear to my heart. And at this time, everybody say it with me, Carson Palmer.
The official quarterback of the left side of the couch.
It's so difficult to pick against Carson Palmer, especially when he is second in touchdowns and fourth in passing yards in the NFL. And DraftKings continues to price him at $6,700 and FanDuel at $8,200. They're still not near the top, even though he is the top. There's somebody else I'm hiding to. And all of his weapons are producing now. So this is the first week that we've had everybody out there, even at a limited capability. Andre Ellington, we've had everybody out there. We've had Michael Floyd. We had a touchdown. Fitzgerald had 90 yards. John Brown exploded for 190. And then we have Chris Johnson still. He didn't have a great game last week, but he's still top 5 in rushing. You have Ellington back. So Carson Palmer has a ton of weapons to work with, a ton. And at this really cheap price for a guy, it's impossible to believe. And the biggest thing for me is, you can put all that aside, playing against Baltimore on Monday in Arizona. There hasn't been a better setup all year for a quarterback to do well. So I really like Carson Palmer this week, and it's going to be hard for me to pick anybody else, to be honest.
I think it's funny that you now refer to the Arizona Cardinals as we, as if, one, you were from Arizona, or two, you ever played for the Arizona Cardinals.
I do have a little money, a little Vegas bet on the Cardinals that I placed earlier in the year.
Andre Ellington's name twice in that segment. Andre Ellington is your reason for picking Carson Palmer? Oh my God.
No, Michael Floyd, Larry Fitzgerald, John Brown.
Yes, you did name every offensive player for the Arizona Cardinals, but Andre Ellington, come on. You didn't even name the starting running back of the Arizona Cardinals in that segment.
I did Chris Johnson.
Oh, I didn't
many times.
I only listened to him.
I know, you don't listen to me. But Andre Ellington, there's a big noise buffer right through here. Andre Ellington, his return is huge because he can turn a little screen pass into a huge gain. And as we've seen with some of the lesser quarterbacks in our league, I'm looking at you, Eli, having a good running back that can catch the ball and get a few yards out of it can greatly improve your fantasy stats. But if you're a good quarterback, you have weapons, and you have to dump it off still, at least you have a guy like Ellington that can break a 60, 70-yarder.
No, Carson Palmer likes to throw the ball deep, and Andre Ellington can break it off for one big gain. but then he'll be out for 3 weeks because he's 5'2" and weighs 96 pounds.
All right, well, this is the Carson Palmer segment of Burn Coverage, which we have every week, not the Andre Ellington. I apologize. I'm just happy Ellington's back, and that's all. Every week I have to say the same things about Carson Palmer.
The only person who's glad that Andre Ellington is back is Andre Ellington's mother.
Yeah, and certainly not Chris Johnson.
No.
For sure.
I don't think Chris Johnson's worried about it. But no, it's a good value play. Like, he's been on fire. He has been arguably one of the top 3 quarterbacks fantasy-wise in the NFL this year, and he just continues to chuck it 40, 45 times a game. So yeah, on paper it looks like it would be a good play.
Monday, too.
Monday.
Carson Palmer's here to make all your fantasy dreams come true. You know, you wait all week, you're like, oh, I'm doing pretty good in this. Who do I have left? Holy shit, I have Carson Palmer left. Yes!
You know who will be upset with this segment? Joe Flacco.
Who?
All right, moving on. It's funny you should mention Carson Palmer. It's almost like we talked about this off camera. So I am going to go very low again. I'm going to go Matt Cassel. Matt Cassel, formerly of the New England Patriots, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings, formerly of the Buffalo Bills, now of the Dallas Cowboys, making his first start in place of the god-awful Jameis Winston-esque Braden Whedon. So, funny stat about Matt Cassel. He is the only player in the history of the NFL to make a start in the NFL who never started a game at quarterback in college.
That's true. Yeah.
That is true.
Is that your Carson Palmer tie-in, by the way?
No. My Carson Palmer tie-in is that he was the backup in USC to Carson Palmer, and then he was the backup to Matt Leinart. And so the reason that they made the change in Dallas is because Jerry Jones said that Brandon Whedon was not taking enough chances downfield. He was playing too conservative.
You can't take chances downfield.
No, that's what Jerry Jones said. So if you are Matt Cassel and you just got the starting job of the Dallas Cowboys, and your owner said that you're getting the job because the previous quarterback didn't take any chances downfield, what do you think Matt Cassel's going to do? Matt Cassel, we know what Matt Cassel is. Matt Cassel will throw the ball downfield. He does have a bit of an arm. And he's got a couple of receivers that can catch it, that do have some speed. Terrence Williams being prominently until Dez Bryant gets back. I don't think Dez Bryant plays this week. But he's going to try to get it downfield. And I think he's going to connect on a couple just because they haven't been. This has been a running team under Whedon. And now they're getting the Giants. The Giants are giving up an average of 299 yards a game through the air. And yeah, he's going for the price of $5,000 on DraftKings and $6,400 on FanDuel. Again, go real low on the quarterbacks this week because then you can stack your roster with the high-end wide receivers and running backs.
Hard for me to go Matt Cassel this week because I just saw the Giants defense tear apart some former first-round pick. Didn't look that great. Got a few long ones.
Tear apart.
Yeah, and Bradford looked awful last week.
We beat them by 20.
You did. Well, the we here is Eagles, by the way.
I'm from Philly.
But yeah, Bradford wasn't that solid last week.
No, it was a terrible game to watch, but we beat them by 20, and the Giants put up 7 points. 7.
Yeah, well, your defense,
on Monday,
defense scored, and DeMarco Murray pretty much.
Oh, the terrible Philadelphia defense that you bring up every week, regardless of whether we talk about.
This segment isn't about the terrible Philadelphia defense. We'll get to the terrible Philadelphia defense later. I'm sure I have somebody they're playing against. But yeah, for Cassel, a guy who's had every opportunity in this league to succeed and hasn't. His best year was with the Randy Moss Patriots, almost 10 years ago now.
But he does have a couple 400-yard games in his pocket. He does have a couple Pro Bowls in his pocket, so it's not like this guy is unproven. It's not
Matt
like
Cassel has a couple Pro Bowls in his pocket?
He's made at least 1 Pro Bowl.
Really?
2008.
Oh, okay.
Off the top of my head, I know he might have made another one, but I know in 2008.
I'll go with it. I mean, that year with the Patriots, they were 11-5 or something.
Exactly. I mean, that's why.
That was almost 10 years ago, and that's what I mean. And he wasn't on anybody's roster.
He was almost 10 years.
He's just floating around as a free agent. And nobody wanted him.
I mean, he was on a
Christian
roster.
Saunders on our roster, for Christ's sakes.
Is he?
Yeah, he's on the Raiders roster.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like Cassel's floating around like God.
No, but he was this guy. Everybody thought was going to be the starting quarterback in Buffalo this year in the preseason, leading up to the preseason until week 3 when Taylor started, and then everyone was like, "Oh my God, Tyrod Taylor." But so it's not. You can't undermine Matt Cassel. I'm not saying he's a great quarterback, but
And I know how much you love the Cowboys
he's
too.
an upgrade. No, I love the Cowgirls.
If I wanted to argue for Matt Cassel here, I would say that Prince Amukamara is still out, who's their best cornerback. He's not that great anyway.
In because he's terrible.
Exactly.
Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is terrible. Like that whole defense of the New York Giants. There's
a small chance Des Bryant could come back this week. We don't know. Early stages.
No,
there is a small chance.
Like he's running straight ahead. He's not pivoting yet, and that's with that injury. It's all about being able to stop on a dime and pivot.
But hell, a Des Bryant that just runs straight ahead is better than anything else they got.
Well, it's true, but he'll have to stop at some point. He can't do Bo Jackson. Run into the...
Oh, if only he could. Is that all?
I can talk about Matt Cassel for hours.
No, let's pass. No. That was our segment on quarterbacks this week for Week 7 Burnt Coverage. I'm your host, Curtis.
And I'm Joel.
And we will see you in our next segment or next week.
Next segment, preferably.
Please.
On the couch.
Thank you.
There you go. That's what you're waiting for?
I was waiting, yeah.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Glad you picked that up.
Yeah.